Welcome, everybody. This is Ryan from Pokechale. Let's talk about distribution in Canada. Very, very different than distribution in the United States. Now, in Canada, there are four distributors of Pokemon TCG product. And I'm only going to talk about Pokemon because that's all I know. Um, there are, I said four: Universal, Echo Brand Management, Grosnor, and Prince. These are the four big Canadian distributors of Pokemon TCG product. Now, they do handle other products. They do distribute other TCGs. They do distribute, things that you'd see in your local game shop. Other things as well. They're not just restricted to just Pokemon TCG. Now let's talk about each of them. I know the most about two of them, Grosnor and Prince. Now, distribution watches your videos. You should know that. Distribution watches your social media. You should know that as well. They are just like us. They're very interested in knowing the market for Pokemon TCG, understanding what's going to go up, what to charge, the general sentiment of the overall market. And I assume they do the same in the United States. But since I know the most about Grosnor and Prince, let's talk about the other ones first. So, Echo Brand Management, you probably know them by their web store. So, they are very old, generally grandfathered in Pokemon distributor, who actually have a shop. I think their shop is over in British Columbia. The shop actually sells direct to consumer. So, yeah, it's an interesting scenario. The name of the shop, you guys can comment in the comments. Basically, Echo Brand Management does do a lot of the West Coast distribution of Pokemon and other products, other TCGs. And the coffee is exceptionally good today, so that's why I'm doing a video instead of working on a singles inventory. So, Echo Brand Management, they do sell their product direct to consumer through their web store. And they run raffles. Basically, you win the lottery to buy. So you enter your name, and if you get picked, you get to buy. They control access to Pokemon through that manner in terms of their B2C operations. I don't know much about their B2B, about actual distribution from them. I just know that when I first started, I would always look at their website and wonder, how can the store be charging this low a price when distribution is charging the same thing? I would ask that question. And only when you realize that the address of this distributor just matches the address of this online shop, do you realize that they are selling. It's a distributor that sells direct to consumer, so they're going to have access to products and prices a lot better than any other store in Canada. And I think they're the only ones. They're the only distributor who, let's call it, sells B2C. Now let's talk Universal. Universal is the big guy. Universal would be the provider of many stores, everything from supermarkets to large TCG stores. They would also be selling across other store types, hardware stores, selling to. They would have the most product. Universal is probably the biggest. And they do not deal with B2C. They do not even deal with stores that are online, right? They don't deal with them. Bringing us to the last two, Grosnor and Prince. Now, Grosnor would be the one that you'd see most traditionally distributing to small TCG stores, small brick and mortars. Now, they play a little bit in the world of online, but they're mostly who you'd. I have a store now. I can get distribution. That's how their distribution works. When you begin with Grosnor, let's talk in the crazy times that are right now. When you begin with Grosnor, they'll give you access to their catalog, but they won't give you much access to Pokemon. You'll tell them, oh, well, I want to sell Pokemon. Can I get allocated Pokemon? And, your first release of Pokemon, you might get two tech stickers, or 3, 4. Like, talking about a sensitive rush, you might get a very small allocation. And you'll wonder to yourself, what the heck, man? I have a store. I have people to pay. I need inventory. I need to sell stuff so that I can pay my employees, pay my rent, pay my heat. Opening a store in winter, paying your heat. So they will start you off, and they'll give you access to things that are on their books, but they're not Pokemon. They'll sell you hockey cards, as an example. The sports card market is tremendously dubious right now, but so they'll sell you stuff that is not selling that well. And your job with Grosnor is to say, yes, give me more, to continually order as much as you can for them and order stuff that's not Pokemon. And this is a bit of a hard trap, because if you're like, oh, I'm a Pokemon TCG company, just like me, I'm not going to say anything negative. Pokemon TCG company, I'm a One Piece company, I'm a, Magic, if you're that. They're going to want you to buy other stuff. They don't want to sell you just the good products. And that's a theme here. You'll have to follow that. They don't want to sell you just the good products. You have to buy everything. So they're going to force you to become an LGS, not focused on TCG. You're going to have to buy and sell other stuff. It's going to be like sleeves, and it's going to be accessories. You're going to have to do that. You're going to have to buy that stuff. Meanwhile, there's other distributors, not Pokemon, that will sell you like accessories at wholesale prices. But you have to go through Grosnor. You have to buy the stuff that's in their books, on their inventory, so you can build. And with Grosnor, you're not going to have a chance to not buy, which means you're not going to be able to say no to anything. And this is where stores get hit. Whenever you say no, whenever you say, oh, I can't do it this month, oh, I'm flush with inventory, I'm pretty sure you're on the books, like you're like, you have a strike against you, which means you're not going to do as well in future allocations. They're not going to give you as many like nudges, product opportunities going forward. They're going to like, okay, they've maxed out what they can handle if they're saying no, right? So we're not going to let you get bigger until you can prove you're getting bigger. And this is the game that you have to play with Canadian distributors, because there are so few. There's no competition, right? There's no, Universal and Grosnor does compete, like on the east coast of Canada. They compete for being your Play Store. They want your Play Store to be them. Like if you have Universal and Grosnor, they'll be wanting you to have, be my Play Store, because you can only have one like dedicated play distributor, and the rest becomes different. So they will compete for you if you're a Play Store, if you're providing organized play, and they will want to have you on their books, and they'll probably treat you better if you're an organized Play Store. If you're just a hole in the wall, or a hole in the wall that has online, or a hole in the wall that has eBay, they're not going to give you the same attention. They get more product from Pokemon based on how many Play Stores they support. And when I say support, I mean sell them play kits, sell them organized play, because you register your distributor with Pokemon. Like, you tell them, hey, I'm going to buy all my play kits from Universal or from Grosnor, and I can't choose two. So that's the situation. They have card stores sort of competing with each other for their play space. They want to be the primary. When you're secondary, you're not doing the pre-release, right? You're not buying the pre-release. You get sort of bucketed in the rest. You get sort of bucketed in having to buy like the rest, and having to maintain an allocation as if you were just a measly old online. We'll talk about primary online in a second. So Grosnor does allow some online stores. They have to be really well developed. When I emailed Grosnor when I started my store, they were like, they looked at my rip and shipping at the time. They looked at my social media. They saw that I had not a big YouTube channel, but I had history. And they said, you know what, maybe contact us again. This was in the low times, but I think they still sort of accept in even in the high times stores that have brick and mortar, but also they accept some stores that didn't. I know that there's other online stores. I have some business contacts who have both Grosnor and Prince as their distributor. They started with Prince. They established their store with Prince, and but now they have both. And the reason is they thought going to Grosnor would be like the distribution you see in the United States. Now, in the United States, there's the whole allocation stuff, but restocks was a thing. You know, you used to be able to buy restocks in the United States, and I'm pretty sure there's still allocation of restocks in the United States. People actually get stuff in wholesale. I think there was this expectation that Grosnor would do similar. They would be restocks and they would sell you at a decent price. The problem right now with Grosnor, and I assume with Universal, is that they're allocating restocks. There's a very small amount of product being allocated for restocks. And the problem is not necessarily price, but quantities. Very little quantity of product can be restocked from Grosnor or restocked from Universal. This is a challenge that brick and mortar TCG stores have with those distributors, because everyone's competing for the small amounts of restocks. Which brings us to the very interesting distributor, which is Prince. Prince, I think, is the smallest distributor, and I would say they are the most in tune with Pokemon. Now, they distribute some of the other set. I think they do Flesh and Blood. I believe they do Yu-Gi-Oh. They do pick up Kickstarters. They're very focused on the TCG market. They're very knowledgeable, and they're very knowledgeable about market price. So they will, and I don't know. I haven't heard about anybody establishing with Prince lately, but they will, especially in the low times, work with streamers like Rip and Shippers, online guys like me. They were the ones who gave me a chance with distribution. Of course, I was ripping, shipping, and selling online at the time too. They are the ones who will give vendors. I got a big vendor table. I sell lots of Pokemon and lots of TCG. They'll give vendor tables access to distribution. They will work with big stores. I know if you want to know who Prince provides product for, they have an active Instagram. Go follow them. They run raffles off their Instagram. Follow them. Look at their followers, and most of the people you see as followers, they're their client list. It's almost like, here's my client list. So you could see who uses Prince for distribution. Now, there's many stores that you know of. Manta, I think Hobbiesville. I think you can see everybody who's there, and all the small guys like myself. I am big for Atlantic Canada, but I'm small compared to Ontario, Quebec, even in BC, of course. But they deal with small guys. They'll deal with people like me, and they play. There's a game that you have to play if you get in the doors with Prince. The game with Prince is never say no. That's an interesting game, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. But if you're a vendor, if you're an online guy, if you've established yourself rip and ship and you have the numbers and you have the business, Prince will take you on as a B2B customer, as a giving you a chance. And let's talk about how to make most of that chance, or to screw up royally, or lose the chance. Now, The only reason I can talk about both these scenarios is I consider myself someone who's played the game and I wouldn't say win, but I played the game, continue to play the game. And I know of some other people who've worked with Prince and lost the game, like, or didn't want to keep up and didn't want to play the game. So when I started with Prince, they did the same. Like Brilliant Stars was coming out. I think they gave me one booster box and like maybe 16 sleeves and 3 or 4 ETBs of Brilliant Stars at wholesale price, which was like $45 Canadian for an ETB. And I think at the time, like 135 or 140 for the booster box of Brilliant Stars. Not very much chance to do much with it, right? I could rip it myself. I mean, I was buying at the time. I was buying booster boxes almost weekly to rip myself. And if you're watching this channel, you're probably in the similar. You've probably had similar experiences where you're in a state where you weekly going through, $300-400 worth of sealed product as your entertainment budget. So allocation was small. I'm like, really? And then the next week, Prince's website was updated with inventory, with things that you could buy. If you wanted to buy Brilliant Stars, you can buy it. But guess what? The ETB was $59 or like $60. That's what we could sell it for. We could hardly sell a Brilliant Stars ETB for $60. But all of a sudden, Prince had that on their website. You could buy a booster box of Brilliant Stars for $170, which was the price, which is the max price you could get. And then this didn't make any sense. What do I do? Like, why would I buy something when I can go to the open market and buy it for the same? Open market, same. So after your initial taste of wholesale, Prince, and this is a little bit different than Grosnor, Prince has almost like an open order of inventory that you could buy, but it's at market. This is what a lot of people struggle with Prince, because I wouldn't call it holdback. They do a little bit. I think they claim maybe 10%, but their goal is to get more and more B2B customers, but small guys. Their goal is to establish a really broad collection of vendors, of businesses that are small. They've decided to handle things by dealing with the smaller side. They're almost very much like a B2C, but the C are businesses. They sell in small amounts. Like the minimum order size, I think, is $300, which, geez, what's that? One booster box. So Prince, their goal is not just to sell you at market. Like, they make money, of course, but their goal is for you to play their game, to make them some extra money on your path to being well allocated, and even when you're well allocated, to still play, to still buy at market, and to do something that a lot of people, old heads who know this, you got to lose money to make money in Pokemon. It's a interesting concept, but a lot of people have a hard time with it. You got to lose money to make money. It's a very interesting thing, and I'm not saying that you got to, fail, but when you buy something, you need to, especially when working with distribution like Prince, you have to understand that yes, you may pay wholesale $145 for that booster box. Then the next week you may play market. It's your job as one of these small vendors is to actually, average the cost out. Because you're a small guy. You're not a Play Store. You're just a guy with a low overhead, with an online store, with a table. Everyone likes a table. Your job is to average that out, to charge less on that product than you paid for, because the week before you got that product for much less. You got it for wholesale. Your job is to play a numbers game. Your job is to move from being a consumer size order, $300 a week, or $400, $500, $600. That's consumer level purchasing. Your job is to get from that consumer level purchasing to be a volume purchaser. Because Prince, Grosnor, they make more money by doing volume. They make more money selling you 30 boxes than they do selling 30 people one box. They want you to go from, this little guy in his basement, the vendor with one table. They want you to move from that one table to like 6 tables and be ready to open your brick and mortar. That's what they want you to do. But they also want to make money from you, because here's the thing. Prince has access to Pokemon TCG, but they charge market for anything that's not allocated. When market is below MSRP, they charge below MSRP for restocks. When it's above MSRP, they charge above MSRP. That is the game. Your role in playing it is to average it out. To try to, your only win scenario is to make a little bit on volume. To figure out the rest of the things in the TCG, to figure out what wins, what losses, minimize losses, maximize wins. They're forcing these little guys to not have a free lunch ticket. If everything was at wholesale for these little vendors, these things, there's a few things that would happen. Like the prices of stuff might collapse. If the scalpers can get access to cheap product, they're not going to scalp. They're not going to be selling at market. They'll be selling below and making their quick buck. So distribution sort of keeps prices in check, but they also keep they want stores. They want to keep having someone who's willing to buy a lot of this stuff. They obviously they need people to buy the stuff that doesn't sell. They need people to buy the decks that Pokemon sends them, the trainer toolkits, which sell really good. They want people to buy any of their dead TCGs that they've invested in. They kickstart in a TCG. They want you to buy it. There's times where I've been really tempted to play all TCG games with Prince, but I've stuck with Pokemon because it's what I know, it's what I'm comfortable with, and it's what I've focused the singles, the smaller end side of my business on. Pokemon. So you're playing this game. The game is to average things out. The game is, for example, I will give it an example. ME2. Phantasmal Flames. I think market is $300 right now. If I go online, I could say, okay, I can get one for $2.99 free shipping. Someone out there will ship it to me. I could buy a case. Prince doesn't have it for $2.99 or free shipping. If I want to buy it, it's $309. Actually, they're out of stock right now. $309 per box, and I have to pay freight to get it to me. There's no free shipping. It's more expensive than market. I can't yeah, I have to pay more than market to get it. Now, this causes me to have upward pressure on prices. It sort of stabilizes it, but what Prince doesn't expect me to sell my allocation and make 10% profit and sell restocks and make 10% profit. The expectation when you're playing the game is you get a total of, let's say, 4 cases at wholesale, 4 cases at restock at market, and average them out. You're supposed to make 10% on the average of what you pay, not 10% on both sets. The basic concept is Prince is almost telling you how to run your business. They're telling you that you do need to be closer to market. You can't be just free ticketing. They're the allocation. And they have the strength to do it because you can't go over to Grosnor and open order. Like, I can't go to Grosnor and order a case of Phantasmal. I have brick and mortar stores, friends who have Grosnor. They can't go into Grosnor and order this case. But they can come to me and say, can you order from Prince and buy me a case? Because Prince has it. Prince's model is to have inventory that it's almost B2C. We're almost the C in the customer. But in the B2B, they want the businesses to be buying this market-based inventory and be working with them to maintain, a good price for product, but not having a free ticket. And maybe it's a little bit greedy. They don't want to give you free money. Free money would be like everything at wholesale, and then market is crazy, and you could charge way under market every time and sell through your inventory like free ticket. They don't want to give you a free ticket. You have to play the game. You're going to have to buy the stuff that loses money in order to get allocated stuff that makes money. It's a numbers game. It's a volume game. Even in the best of times, Pokemon TCG, Pokemon selling, it's volume. If you want to maintain your allocation with Prince, with Grosnor, you have to be saying yes, and you have to be playing the game. Here's what happens when you don't. So, you don't like charging market. Ooh, this is a difficult one. You don't like charging market. And unfortunately, a good friend of mine did this. He's a vendor. He had to change his business model after this, but his approach was, I can't order $300 booster box from Prince when I can get it for $289 from Hobbiesville or from 401. I can't do it. I need to get the best price for my customers. Because, when he did get allocated, he sold it for the best price for his customers. So he had to buy, he would stock his store from other stores. And this happens. I supply stores around the country. Like, I have product that they want, and they either don't have their Prince account yet, or they don't have their Grosnor account, or Grosnor doesn't have anything. Grosnor sold it all. There's zero inventory. Or they see Prince, and Prince is charging more than what I am. So they need to do this cross-selling, right? They need to make sure that you're selling for higher than what you're getting it. And if you're buying from other stores, what you're doing is you're shooting yourself in the foot from buying from Prince. You're doing right by your customers, but long term, when you start saying no to things from Prince, you're not going to say no to allocation. You'll be like, oh yeah, I'll take it. But you're saying no to, let's say you say no to battle decks. Let's say you decide you're not going to restock at $309. You're going to pay $389 to get free shipping from Hobbiesville or something. When you start to do that, the spreadsheet at Prince, the spreadsheet at Grosnor starts to drop. It starts to go down. Like, how much did Poke Chalet spend last month? Only $17,000. How much did John from TCG vendor booth sell? Oh, he only bought his allocation last month, and he said no to the I don't know. He didn't buy anything more than like his allocation. It's a spreadsheet. It's like it's a game, and it's a score. It's a score. It's a score process, right? Scorecard. Who spends the most gets the most. Who you have to lose to make, right? You have to okay, I'm going to take a hit on this restock. I know my customers want it, And I might even have to take $10 a hit, and even though I'm paying 309, I might have to charge 300. So you might have to take that $9 hit a box. But the benefit of ordering through allocation is long term. It's not that $9 that you lose, right? It's the fact that I probably have one of the largest Ascended Heroes distribution in Atlantic Canada right now. I will get a fair amount. Of course, I'll sell it, but the benefit of playing the game is that I'll probably beat out a lot of the other similar vendors who are afraid to lose or don't want to lose or not willing to take one for the team, the B2B collaboration that you as a store, you as a vendor need to do with distribution. You have to toe the line because that's the model that they have in place, right? They want you to maintain a good, strong market. They don't want to give you a free ticket. You need to work with them, lose some to win some. And that's how distribution in Canada works. So is it different in where you are? Do you have a different perspective? I think prints, everyone gets really negative on prints. You can see it in reviews on their web, on their Google. There's some people who are really negative. It's almost a mindset thing. Prints is they're allowing people like me to exist, and a lot of times it's easy to be grumpy about them. You know, oh, I don't want to pay market. I wish they would just give it all in wholesale. It's easy to be cranky about them, but they're actually they're playing a role, just like they're expecting you to play a role, and that's the way it is. If they sold it all to one person at wholesale, it's not going to be you. It's not going to be Mr. Venderman. It's not going to be Mr. Basement Dweller Poke Chalet. It'll be, you know, who's been around the longest and the biggest. So they're doing a huge favor to small guys and allowing you to exist and allowing you to enjoy the hobby in the manner of a business. Small business, yes, and they're not going to let you become giant, but they're allowing you to exist, and you have to play their game. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, this summary of how distribution works in Canada. Like, subscribe, and tell me how wrong I am in the comments. Talk to you next time.